The year is 2025. Global tensions simmer. The unthinkable, nuclear war between the US and Russia, is a chilling possibility. Several flashpoints could ignite this catastrophe. Miscalculation during a regional conflict, like in Ukraine or the Baltics, could escalate rapidly. Cyber attacks, crippling infrastructure and sowing chaos, might provoke an uncontrolled response. The greatest danger, however, lies in misjudgment. A false alarm, a misinterpreted radar blip, could trigger a chain reaction with unimaginable consequences. The decision to unleash nuclear weapons, once considered unthinkable, becomes terrifyingly real. Imagine a nuclear detonation over New York City. A blinding flash, a searing heat wave, then a shockwave powerful enough to pulverize concrete and glass. Millions vanish in an instant. Washington, D.C., the seat of American power, suffers a similar fate. The White House, the Capitol, symbols of democracy, reduced to radioactive rubble. The chain of command shattered, leaving a nation in chaos. Los Angeles, sprawling and vulnerable, faces a rain of fire. The iconic Hollywood sign melts, a grim reminder of the entertainment industry's demise. The Pacific Coast, once a beacon of hope, now a radioactive wasteland. The blast radius of a nuclear weapon is immense. Within a 1-mile radius, survival is nearly impossible. At 3 miles, severe injuries are likely, and buildings are heavily damaged. Beyond 5 miles, the chances of survival increase, but radiation exposure remains a serious threat. The initial blasts, horrific as they are just the beginning. Nuclear detonations release radioactive particles known as fallout into the atmosphere. This invisible killer spreads with the wind, contaminating everything in its path. Exposure to high levels of radiation causes acute radiation sickness. Nausea, vomiting, hair loss, and internal bleeding are just some of the symptoms. Medical facilities, overwhelmed and destroyed, are unable to cope. Long-term effects are equally devastating. Cancer rates skyrocket, birth defects become commonplace, the environment, poisoned for generations, becomes a deadly threat. The U.S. military response to a nuclear strike by Russia would be swift and devastating. The United States maintains a triad of nuclear forces: land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, submarine-launched ballistic missiles, SLBMs, and strategic bombers. Each of these forces is capable of delivering a massive retaliatory strike. Key U.S. military nuclear sites include Minuteman III ICBM silos located in Montana, North Dakota, and Wyoming, Ohio-class submarines patrolling the world's oceans, and B-2 and B-52 bombers stationed at various air bases. These forces are designed to ensure that any nuclear attack on the United States would result in a catastrophic response, deterring adversaries from considering such an action. The Minuteman III ICBM, for instance, has a blast radius of approximately 10 miles. The Trident II SLBM, launched from Ohio-class submarines, can devastate an area with a blast radius of up to 15 miles. Strategic bombers like the B-2 and B-52 can carry nuclear bombs with varying blast radii, typically ranging from 5 to 20 miles.
The one question I get the most is, what food company is the best food company? Well, folks, in my opinion, it has to be freeze-dried wholesalers, the one company you've never probably heard of. Folks, I'm the Southwest Prepper with the Southwest Prepper Group. I'm a United States Air Force combat veteran. I've been around the world. I've eaten it all. I've actually got promo codes for all the other emergency food companies. And I only feed my family freeze-dried wholesalers. No additives, no fillers, only the best food. And it's not just emergency food. You can eat this every single day. 15% off all your orders. Stock up now.
While the immediate aftermath of a nuclear exchange between the US and Russia would be catastrophic, the consequences would ripple far beyond the borders of these two nations. The global impact would be profound and multifaceted. First, the environmental fallout. The immense amount of soot and debris thrust into the atmosphere would likely trigger a nuclear winter. This phenomenon, characterized by drastically reduced sunlight and plummeting temperatures, could lead to widespread crop failures and a collapse of global food supplies. As a result, billions could face starvation. Next, consider the geopolitical instability. Nations around the world would scramble to address the power vacuum left by the incapacitated superpowers. Alliances would shift, and new conflicts could erupt as countries vie for resources and dominance. The delicate balance of international relations would be thrown into chaos. The economic implications would be equally dire. Global markets would crash, currencies would devalue, and international trade would grind to a halt. Supply chains for essential goods, from medicine to technology, would be severely disrupted. The world economy, already fragile, could take decades to recover, if at all. Humanitarian crises would escalate. Refugees fleeing the fallout zones would strain already overburdened systems in neighboring countries. The influx could lead to social unrest, xenophobia, and further conflict. International aid organizations would be overwhelmed, unable to meet the unprecedented demand for assistance. The psychological toll on the global population cannot be understated. The constant threat of radiation exposure, the loss of loved ones, and the sheer scale of the devastation would lead to widespread trauma and mental health issues. Communities would need to come together to support one another, finding strength in unity to navigate this new reality. In essence, a nuclear war between the US and Russia would not just devastate the participating nations, but would echo through every corner of the globe, altering life as we know it. The world would face a long and arduous journey towards recovery, one that would test the very fabric of human resilience and cooperation. Survival in a post-nuclear world is a grim prospect, but preparation can increase your odds. The first rule: seek immediate shelter. The ideal location is underground, away from windows and doors. Stockpile essential supplies: food, water, medicine, a battery-powered radio. Stay informed about potential threats and official instructions. Knowledge is power in a world on the brink. After the initial blast, avoid contact with contaminated areas. Wear protective clothing if you must venture outside. Remember, radiation is invisible and odorless. Don't underestimate its deadly reach. The aftermath of a nuclear war will test humanity's resilience like never before. By understanding the risks and preparing for the unthinkable, we can increase our chances of survival and help rebuild a shattered world. Essential supplies include non-perishable food, water purification tablets, and first aid kits. Hand-crank radios, solar chargers, and flashlights are crucial for communication and light. Regularly practice emergency drills and have a clear evacuation plan. Long-term survival may depend on growing your own food and community farming. Recovery will be a slow process, taking years or even decades to rebuild infrastructure. Community cooperation and strong leadership will be key to restoring society. Sharing resources and helping each other will be essential for survival and recovery. With determination and unity, society can rise from the ashes and thrive once more.